In the small coastal town of Pascagoula, Mississippi, Gary Bardwell held his newborn daughter Jessie for the first time. From that moment, an unbreakable bond was forged between father and child. Jessie was Daddy's little girl, and she remained so throughout her childhood. Gary still recalls the backache from carrying her everywhere, even when she was 6 years old, jumping into his arms, demanding to be held. She grew into a beautiful young woman with a radiant smile and a free spirit. Her brother Brandon shared an equally close relationship with her. They were inseparable, always watching out for each other. Jessie worried about Brandon like a second mother, and he returned that devotion completely. Jessie's adventurous nature and fierce independence defined her young adulthood. She lived life on her own terms, trusting people easily and embracing new experiences without hesitation. Her father admired these qualities, but also worried about them. She was too trusting, he thought, too willing to see the good in everyone. That trust would ultimately lead her down a dangerous path. Despite her independence, Jessie maintained a nightly ritual with her father. Every evening before sleep, she called or texted him. "Dad, I'm okay." Those three words gave Gary peace of mind. They were a lifeline connecting them across any distance. Then everything changed when she announced she was moving to Texas. Jessie packed her belongings and relocated 500 miles from Mississippi to Richardson, Texas. The move stunned her family completely. She had never done anything so impulsive before. There was no gradual transition, no discussion about her plans. She simply left. Gary soon discovered the reason for this sudden departure. Jessie had fallen in love with a fast-talking man named Jason Lowe. When Gary finally met Jason, every instinct screamed warning. The man tried to impress him with lies about being a Navy SEAL, but Gary saw through the deception immediately. He recognized a manipulator when he met one. But Jessie was blind to Jason's true nature, consumed by what she believed was love. Gary's concerns intensified when Jessie's daily phone calls and texts stopped. The ritual that had comforted him for years simply vanished. When he visited the couple's luxury apartment, Jessie insisted she was happy and refused to come home. "Daddy, there's nothing you can say or do to make me go home with you," she told him. Those words cut deeply. Gary began having nightmares that Jessie was dead. The dream haunted him constantly, refusing to fade. He called her, begging to come visit, but she pleaded with him to stay away. Jason would answer her phone, offering excuses and deflections. Something was terribly wrong, and Gary knew it in his bones. After Christmas 2015, Jessie completely vanished from her family's life. No calls, no texts, nothing. The silence stretched into weeks. Gary and his family made a pact. If Jessie didn't call on Mother's Day, they would know something terrible had happened. Mother's Day came and went without a word from Jessie. Gary was frantic. He called her phone, and once again Jason answered. "Let me know what's going on or I'm coming out there," Gary warned. Jason responded with a threat. "You better not come out here with an attitude." That was the final straw. Gary loaded his truck and drove 11 hours straight through the night to Texas. Gary went straight to the Richardson Police Department and filed a missing persons report. Officers immediately visited Jason's apartment with audio recorders rolling. Jason claimed Jessie had driven away in her Acura on Mother's Day morning. But the officers discovered a critical flaw in his story. Jessie no longer owned that car. She had sold it to someone else a month earlier. The lies were piling up, but Jason remained defiant. Meanwhile, Gary went to the apartment and knocked on the door. He heard footsteps inside, but Jason refused to answer. The police returned for a second visit. This time, they smelled something terrible in the garage. The odor of decaying flesh permeated Jason's garage. Forensic investigators sprayed his truck with luminol, revealing massive blood traces throughout the cargo area. The trunk glowed brightly under the chemical light. Blood was also dripping from the undercarriage. Jason was arrested on drug charges, but the investigation was just beginning. Detectives uncovered a history of violence, including a 911 call from a woman named Chrissy Chambers. She described Jason strangling her until she lost consciousness. "He tried to kill me," she told police. Despite this evidence, Jason refused to cooperate, but he made a fatal mistake. He called a friend from jail, not knowing the conversation was being recorded. Jason confessed to his friend that Jesse's death was an accident. He claimed they were having sex in the shower when she slipped and hit her head. She never woke up. Jason called it criminal negligence, insisting there was nothing he could have done differently. The recording gave prosecutors powerful evidence, but they still needed Jesse's body to secure a conviction. Jason offered a deal. He would lead police to her remains if prosecutors capped his sentence at 50 years. They agreed. He directed them to a muddy field 35 miles away. Police found Jessie wrapped in a bedsheet, her body badly decomposed. She had been discarded like garbage. Gary Bardwell learned the most devastating detail during the trial. When he had knocked on Jason's apartment door, desperately searching for his daughter, she was already there. Her body was hidden in the back of Jason's car, parked in the garage just feet away. While Jesse's remains sat rotting, Jason was sexting other women, sending explicit photos, and receiving nude images in return. He showed no remorse. At trial, Jason reenacted the shower accident scenario with his lawyer, using chairs to demonstrate. Gary watched in disbelief. The jury found Jason guilty of murder and sentenced him to 50 years in prison. Justice had been served, but Gary's pain remained unbearable. Gary Bardwell returned to Mississippi to a home filled with deafening silence. Jessie's laughter was gone. Her presence was gone. Everything was gone. He struggles with guilt every single day, wondering if he could have saved her if he had acted sooner. The anger consumes him sometimes. He gets furious when he sees other people happy because his happiness was stolen. But Gary has channeled his grief into purpose. He speaks out about toxic relationships, hoping to save other families from similar tragedy. He wrote a song for Jessie and keeps her bedroom filled with music. Her light will never fade as long as he keeps telling her story.